Today, I'm delighted to be joined by Iggy Tan, the Managing Director at Alltech Chemicals. Iggy, thank you so much for joining me today.
Nice to see you again.
Now, Iggy, following Tesla's Battery Day earlier this week, I understand Tesla is targeting its battery costs below $100 per kilowatt. Tell me, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, very exciting announcements by Tesla. They are now targeting to get their production costs of batteries below $100 per kilowatt hour. And I think they're targeting between $80 to $100. Now, this is significant for the EV industry because it drops the cost of an EV car to be very competitive levels to the ICE cars. They also said that they want to target their production facilities up to 3 terawatts of power. So a terawatt is 1,000 gigawatts. And just to give you some context, the new gigafactory they're building in Germany is 150 gigawatts, so 0.15 terawatts. So to get to the 3 terawatts of production capacity, that's nearly 20 gigawatts, gigafactories they have to build. So very long-term targets they're just announced.
Yeah, it does sound like a busy time for the EV market there, Iggy. Now, I understand Alltech has announced a breakthrough in its high purity alumina anode grade, which can help Tesla's lithium battery revolution. Tell me a bit about this news and how exciting this is for Alltech Chemicals.
Yeah, so we've been focused on our high purity alumina and technology to meet the lithium battery evolution. And recently we announced an anode grade high purity alumina. Most of the developments in the lithium battery has centered around the cathode side, and the developments in the anode side is just catching up. So what they found is that by coating the graphite particles on the anode side, they're getting a lot of benefits, including higher density and increased battery life. But there have been challenges to trying to coat the graphite particles with alumina. Alltech has just announced a breakthrough where we have the technology and the product to coat these graphite particles. And if successful, we think it's a game changer and it will improve the lithium battery energy density and also the battery life.
Certainly a great time to be in the EV market there, Iggy. Tell me a little bit more about this innovation.
Okay, so if we look at the lithium battery, on the right-hand side, you have the cathode, which is the positive terminal. On the left-hand side is the graphite part, or the anode, which is the negative terminal. In the first charge of the battery, the lithium ions go from the cathode to the anode. When the battery is charged, it's ready to be discharged, the lithium ions move back, right? And it produces electricity. But what's interesting, only 8% of the lithium ions is left at the anode. And the lithium ions at the anode becomes inactive, and they call it the first cycle lithium loss. So the lithium is lost to the battery. Now, if you look at the molecular level, what happens, you can see the graphite particle. Lithium ions start to coat the particle on this first charge, and it forms a layer. And the layer, they call it a SEI layer. Now, the lithium ions the SEI layer allows the lithium to go through to the graphite, so the battery functions. And also, but however, it takes away the lithium capacity up front. Okay, hydrofluoric ions, which is in the electrolyte. I know it's a lot of chemistry, but it also attacks the SEI layer. And when it attacks the SEI layer, it absorbs more lithium ions, so more lithium is lost to the battery. Okay, and if you look at the graph of the battery performance, you can see the drop in the capacity up front. That's the first cycle loss, and then over the period of time, at the 80% capacity mark, is the life of the battery. Okay, our product and our technology is able to coat this graphite particle with a very tiny layer of alumina plus sub-microns of alumina particles. And the beauty of this coating is that it stops lithium from building in the SEI layer, and it allows lithium to go through to the graphite, so it allows the battery to perform. And the other advantage is also, remember the hydrofluoric ions that was attacking the SEI layer? Our coating seems to be able to neutralize that material and make it inert. So lots of positive. Now, if you look at the battery performance graph now, with a reduced first cycle loss, the life of the battery stretches out. So you have increased life and you have higher energy density.
Certainly significant news and breakthrough there for Alltech, Iggy. I understand you're undergoing final test work, but what sort of improvements in energy density and battery life can we expect from these test works?
Yeah, so if successful, if you think about it, if you have 8% more lithium to work with in the first place, that 8% is essentially the increase in energy density for the battery. Now, 8% doesn't sound a lot, but when you think about the cost of a battery, say if your battery cost is $120 a kilowatt hour, less 8% drops you down to the less than $100 a kilowatt hour. So it's a very significant amount and innovation. And also in the life of the battery, we could expect maybe 20 to 30% increase in the life of the battery. So higher energy density and longer life. That's what we think could happen, and obviously subject to final test work, but we're very excited about the breakthrough.
So, Iggy, lastly, I do want to ask, will you be able to produce this anode from your Johor HPA plant?
Yes, the product will be the outcome of the Johor HPA plant, so there will be no change of equipment. There's no need for changing the configuration of the plant, the product, and no change in the capital cost. So it's exactly what the Johor plant would produce. There are some additional chemicals that we will put into the formulation of this final product, but very exciting for the lithium battery industry.
Iggy, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we look forward to having you back in the studio again.
Thanks for having me, Mark.